Welcome to today's Explainer. If you follow global markets, or really just the sporting world in general, you already know a World Cup is massive. But the 2026 FIFA World Cup, it's honestly shaping up to be an entirely different beast altogether. We're talking about absolutely unprecedented scale here, a literal tectonic shift in media, and just a staggering economic engine. So today, we're going to break down the actual data behind this approaching giant.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We've got 5 main areas to cover today. First, the 2026 World Cup fever. Second, we'll map out the global audience and reach. Third, India's rising football fever. Fourth, the economics of 2026. And finally, number 5, the power of football.
All right, Section 1, the 2026 World Cup fever, a synchronized event. So before we get into all the heavy economic data, we kind of have to understand the sheer cultural gravity of this thing, because it really isn't just sports, right? It's a synchronized global experience. So just how widespread is this global fever? Well, to understand the money, you first have to understand the reach, this relentless, month-long cultural domination that dictates media consumption across the entire planet. Moving into Section 2, global audience and reach, the hard numbers. And this brilliantly illustrates where we pivot from that abstract feeling of fever straight into the undeniable numbers. Historically, football data skewed really heavily toward Europe and South America. But today, we're seeing major, massive engagement across 5 distinct geographic zones. The tournament is capturing eyeballs in literally every corner of the globe. It's totally transformed from just a transatlantic obsession into a truly universal media property. To really grasp the 2026 trajectory, you have to contrast the established global audience with the emerging Indian market. The established markets, your Europes, your South Americas, they're massive, for sure, but they're highly saturated. Pretty much everyone who can watch already does. But emerging markets, specifically India, that growth curve is almost vertical. It's unlocking a market with over 1 billion potential viewers in a hyper-rapid expansion. Which brings us to Section 3. India's rising football fever, game-changing growth. Look, if you want to know exactly why the economic projections are absolutely skyrocketing, you have to look at this specific geographic market. Tracking India's past, present, and projected 2026 viewership reveals an absolute game-changer. This surging audience isn't just some fun cultural footnote. It translates directly into global market influence, and it is completely rewriting the rules for global broadcasting rights and digital engagement. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds. The economics of 2026. Massive value. We've seen the fever, the truly global reach, and the staggering growth of the Indian market. Now we have to calculate what all those eyeballs are actually worth in dollars and cents. So, just how massive are the economics of 2026? Take a second to really think about the sheer scale here. Over $11 billion. I'll just let that sink in for a moment because honestly, no way around it. That is absolutely jaw-dropping. This projected total economic impact for 2026 is a huge testament to the power of a captive global audience. We're talking about a massive injection of capital and a commercial ecosystem that quite literally rivals the GDP of small nations. This isn't just a sports tournament anymore. It's a full-blown macroeconomic event. So how on earth do you actually reach a number that large? Well, it methodically breaks down into 3 main streams. Ticketing provides the physical footprint. Sponsorships bring in that massive corporate backing. But the real standout? Broadcasting. Broadcasting rights are the silent titans of modern sports economics. Thanks to those surging emerging markets like India we just talked about, media conglomerates are paying astronomical premiums just to access that guaranteed, undivided global attention. And this money doesn't just sit locked in some FIFA vault somewhere. It creates massive economic ripple effects. Host cities see an influx of tourism that sustains local hospitality and retail sectors for months. Global brands launch these international campaigns that fundamentally alter consumer habits. And the required infrastructure, new stadiums, improved transit, upgraded tech networks, all of that creates jobs and leaves a permanent physical legacy long after the final whistle blows. These are financial waves that actually touch everyday markets and everyday consumers. Finally, Section 5, the power of football, true global influence. So, the crucial point is, when you synthesize a massive audience with staggering economics, you generate something far more potent than just revenue. You get global soft power. In FIFA's context, this is the ability to shape preferences, influence behavior, and establish cultural dominance without any coercion. Think about it. When a single organization can capture billions of eyeballs while steering billions of dollars through the global economy, they hold unparalleled geopolitical influence. Nations literally compete fiercely just for the privilege of associating with this brand. To summarize our journey today, 2026 is the ultimate intersection of audience, money, and global influence. We saw how the foundational cultural fever, especially that vertical growth we tracked in India, acts as the raw fuel. We then saw how that fuel is pumped into a massive, meticulously structured economic engine of broadcasting and sponsorships. And all of that ultimately results in a level of global soft power that is, frankly, unmatched by any other event on Earth. Which leaves us with an incredibly exciting thought to end on. With the unprecedented scale of 2026, what will the economics of global mega events look like in the decades to follow? If $11 billion is the new baseline, just how much bigger can the intersection of sports, media, and global capital actually get? It's a fascinating question, and one we will undoubtedly be watching closely as the numbers roll in. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.